Good morning, everyone. My name is Isha Saluja, and I welcome you all to today's Satsang session for an enlightening session with Shri Ashish today. So, before we dive into the depths of spiritual insights, we shall begin our journey today with a 10-minute silence. Furthermore, I would like to emphasize that today's session or discussion is not limited to any specific topic, whether it's a question about spirituality, personal growth, or any other aspect of life. Do feel free to ask and discuss with Shri Ashish. So, we shall begin with the 10-minute silence now.
Namaste, everyone. I guess today we have a very small group. So I think, Isha, what we can do is you can open up everybody's audio and video. That'll be great. What we can
Yes.
do is we can start with a 10-minute silence. The way I like to do this meditative process is not the usual meditation, but we'll sit in silence for about 10 minutes. Um, Most of you who've known me on this call, um, what I basically tell people is to, if the thoughts are coming during silence, let them come. I see Somna is a new attendee today, so Somna, welcome. Just as you sit in silence, let the thoughts come. Don't interact with them. Don't identify with them. Um, just you can just watch them come and go. But try and find the silence within, and then try and hold on to that silence. All right, let's begin. Isha, can you keep the clock?
Yes. So we're through with 10 minutes.
Wonderful. How's everybody feeling? Good?
Good.
Very good. Okay. So since we have a really small group today, how all right, let's see how we can do this. Should we change it up a little bit? Should we make it more interactive today rather than me talking for 15-20 minutes and then the Q&A session? Does that work? Yeah. Isha, is everybody's mics and cameras open?
Yes.
Okay. So, Anil, should we talk about non-duality today?
Yeah, I think that'll be great.
I think
Just to kind of,
I think most people on this call have their books. So I think they've started reading or are in the process of reading. So I think non-duality may be a good, topic to discuss. And I actually want to ask the people on the call today, when we talk about non-duality, what does it mean to them? What do they, when they say, okay, this is non-dual, or when we talk about Advaita, what does it mean to them? So, Malini, Somna, do you guys want to tell me what non-duality means for you guys?
Yeah. Hi. I don't know what to say. I don't know actually. I'd like to hear it from you or somebody else. Explain it to me, please.
Okay. All right.
Samna hasn't gotten a copy of her book as yet.
Not yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right.
So she, I think it's a new topic for
New
her.
topic
So
for
I think it'd be nice for you to just explain what non-duality means.
Okay. Anybody else wants to tell me what they think about non-duality when we talk about non-duality before I explain?
well, I think, for a common person, the duality means, me and someone else, Anil and Sri Ashish, Anil and some God. And there are multiple human beings, and they are all have their personalities, have their consciousness, and everything else. So I believe that that is what it means to be kind of, in duality or multiple entities, different bodies, different souls. So I think, as Somana said, it would be good to know what is non-duality given that perspective that common people have.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think the truth can be dual by its very definition?
Truth cannot be dual.
Truth is truth. Yeah.
Truth is truth. Okay, by its very definition. That means that truth is non-dual, correct? Everybody agrees to that?
Yeah.
So then, but in this phenomenal world, everything is constantly changing, correct? As we always say, change is the only constant in the phenomenal world. So if every moment is changing, then is the truth changing as well in the phenomenal world? Not remaining the same?
No, truth never changes.
Truth never changes, correct? So if the phenomenal world is constantly changing, then...
But there are multiple truths.
Again, by the very definition, how can there be multiple truths? That is not the truth.
Truth about yourself, truth about what you see, truth about what the physics says, truth about, what the chemistry says. So if you look at the different aspects of life, the phenomenal world I'm talking about, if you look at the phenomenal world, and each of these truths are non-dual, but there are multiple truths given the perspective that you have in the world.
No, but then Anil, by the very definition, then it's not the truth. If you're saying there are multiple truths, then by this very definition, how can it be?
How can it be true then?
It cannot be true. It may be true for you, but it's not true for somebody else. Then it's not the truth.
Right. What I'm saying is, I think in the phenomenal world, right,
Again,
what
in
I
the
see in front of
phenomenal
me,
world, even within your body, it's constantly changing. The chemistry, the physicality, all of this is constantly changing. Your cells actually, by you say science, every 6 hours the cells die. So there's something that keeps a memory within. Otherwise, you would all look very different every 6 hours.
yeah, for example, I was just thinking not from the reality perspective, not from, the singular consciousness perspective. What I'm seeing in front of me is a wall and a printer sitting in front of me. Somebody sitting in their room. So that is the truth. There is a printer, there is a desk in front of me. And that's what I perceive, that's what I see, and that's what I believe is the truth. I cannot say there's a lamp in front of me. I just see what I see, and that is the truth. Somebody
No,
else
so
sitting in their own
no.
room.
So I think you're making a mistake between a fact and a truth. From outside, for somebody else's perspective, from outside, that lamp may look like something else. But that's not the truth. It's a fact that you're seeing a lamp. See, truth has to remain permanent. Otherwise, it does not remain the truth. By its very definition, if it changes for different people, then it's not the truth. And which is why we say that the truth is non-dual, because it has to remain unchanging and permanent. Satya Advaitva hai. That is what it actually means, that the truth is non-dual. So then the question arises, if constantly things are changing in the transitory or in the phenomenal world, then what is it that is permanent and unchanging? That is what you have to seek. That is what it means to be non-dual. Non-duality per se, in reality, there is nothing called duality and non-duality. Because whereas as far as the truth, which is reality, nothing is ever changing. So the question of duality and non-duality never arises. So
The
when we
phenomenal
talk
world
of,
has a different view. See, I think, if we actually think about the reality, that's very different than what our senses are perceiving and what we call the truth. So there are two different perspectives. If you look from the phenomenal world, that means what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing. That has, at a moment in time, there is a truth associated with it. It's not the permanent truth, it's the truth associated at the moment, perceived by senses and perceived by your mind. So that's in that perspective, what I see, I believe that's the truth. It may not be the ultimate truth. It may not be the reality, the truth. That's where I was trying to get at, and that's the
I know,
common
but
conception.
then it doesn't become a truth, right? Then the definition of truth is not correct. Then you're not using, because truth cannot change. By its very definition, a truth has to remain permanent. Otherwise, it's not, the word by its very definition is not, then it's not truth, it's something else.
Correct.
Anil, E equal to MC square is equal to MC square. It doesn't variate in any way whatsoever for anybody,
That is
right?
true, right? Yeah, of course. I
There's
think
no
energy
perspective
does
to
not
it,
change, it
whichever angle
transforms.
you look at it. That's fundamental.
So
So
then,
there is perception, there is facts, there is, you visualize things, but according to me, truth does not change. Truth is permanent. There can be only one truth to any given situation. You may perceive it different, different people look at it differently, but truth is permanent.
So
Right.
if the truth is permanent, then the whole transitory world, which is constantly changing, is not the truth. Then the question arises, what is the truth? And this whole self discovery, this whole process is an understanding of that. That is the starting point. So we are so entangled in our daily lives that we forget, we take that for granted. We take that what we see, what we hear, what we touch, what we feel, what we think is the truth, which is not correct. So when we say that the truth is non-dual, that is what it means. In essence, that is what it means. And then further down as you go, what you seek and what you actually then understand as you go deeper down is that there is a base of existence, the underlying nature and essence of everything that exists, which is what we keep talking about as reality, which is unchanging, which is permanent. And that base of existence is our original state of being, because that is the starting point for all. And that is never changing. It will never change, because if it changes, then it's not the truth. So Ramanna had the saying, silence is truth, because that is where the base of existence is. Everything else on top of that, which is changing, is not real. It's make believe. So in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've had lots of conversations. People have sat here with me, and I think we've discussed about the physical reality, whether the phenomenal world actually exists or does not exist. But from the non-dual perspective, as Anil is saying, it cannot exist, because if it constantly changes, then it's not the truth. Yes, Anil? Does that
Yes, yes.
make,
So
yeah?
I think it's the matter of perspective, and we have described in the book, several times. When you look from the common man's perspective, who are not thinking of the reality, non-duality, because in non-duality, as you just said, nothing exists. Neither you nor me nor this computer nor this screen, nothing exists, because the truth is permanent. It cannot change. So that constant state remains. However, as soon as you start to come in this world, this phenomenal world, then you have different perspectives, different versions of the truth, and different objects, entities, bodies, senses, all of those things. So very first thing we have to understand is from which perspective you're talking. If you're talking from the reality perspective, nothing exists. But if you're talking about you and me, going from one city to the other city, then there are senses, then there is a logic, then there is a thought. So you got to sort of like think in that sense.
Yeah, but there is no two perspectives in reality. There is only reality.
Correct. Correct. And that is
Correct?
the hard concept to sort of like see, because once you see that this is the reality and it never changes, then what we are doing here, what we are seeing here. So you have to look at this phenomenal world from a very, very different perspective. This is all Maya, right? These are all illusion. It's like you always say, it's like a dream. When you are in the dream, you see that everything is happening. The snake is biting you, you're falling from the mountain, and you are actually having exhilaration of achievements. But as soon as the dream ends, you just realize nothing happened. Absolutely, there was nothing there. So this world is actually is an illusion and nothing else from that perspective.
Correct. So that is what we mean non-dualism, right? That the essence of all, the the true nature of all, the underlying um, base of existence is one and the same for all, and it's permanent, it's unchanging, it never changes. Now then the question arises, you know, uh, but Ashish, we see this world, we touch it, we feel it, we are in it, we got all these ups and downs of emotions, why can't we then, if this is our true self, this is our true nature, and this is the original nature, then why can't we experience it? Why can't we, uh, abide in it? Why are we not aware of it? And the reason for that is, as Anil was saying, is that there is a layer of, uh, ignorance that has been kind of added onto the space of existence or this state of being, um, which has created this identification, false identification to what we call the ego or the I. So from the reality, which is just pure consciousness, there seems to appears to arise, um, something called the mind, which is, uh, kind of, seems to be a distortion in consciousness, and from that arises something called the I, which is our ego. And from the I, then comes the individual identification to this mind and what we call manas, which is the individual mind that we all say, which is what so much research is going on. Is, what is this mind? We have mindfulness. We should control the mind. We should look at the mind. We should analyze the mind. And then from that mind gets projected, um, what we call matter, which is body. And then the body, because there is a body and you have the senses, hence now you can see the world. So, because of this layer of reflection, as we call it in reality, uh, you know, uh, there seems to be all of this stuff appears to be there. And this, as this thing is going on or appears to be going on, these habitual tendencies of the mind to keep us entangled, we actually forget who we truly are. We forget, we stop becoming aware of our true nature, and we begin to identify with this dual nature, or what we call relative reality, which is everything that our individuality has actually built or believes it has built for itself. And from these now starts, our entanglements, our relationships, our attachments, our desires. But in reality, none of this is going on, because non-dualism says that the truth, which is permanent and unchanging as the base of existence, is not changing. So anything that is changing cannot be the truth. And if that's not the truth, then whatever is happening is happening. It has got nothing to do with reality. It appears to be there. So the only way is then to get out of this. Then you can say, hey, actually, then the next thing arises is, if you say that, we've identified with this and there's such a strong identification to this, that we tend to start believing in this phenomenal world, and that, we see, we touch, we feel, then what are the steps to get out of this? How do we become less and less aware of our relative reality and become more and more aware of, who we are, who we've always been? And there the process then starts. You have to first realize and discriminate between what is real and unreal. It starts with faith. It's a big leap of faith, because now suddenly somebody has come and told you that, look, everything that you believed in, that you've been told from the time you were born in this physical body, um, does not seem to be real. So it starts with faith, like anything new that you start with. If I tell you there is a new diet, it has to be, you have to have faith in the diet, even though the scientific community, which usually does these small, um, you know experiments, but you still have to say, okay, I'll start this new diet. 10 people are saying, so maybe I'll try it, but you try it. And if it works, you say, hey, this is great. If not, then you continue as you go on. So here too, you have to start this self-discovery, um, with faith. You have to say, okay, there's something new, this is the unknown. But if 10 people who basically did it and they got the same result, then maybe there could be something here which could completely change my life. And you begin this discrimination. If this everything is each time an event or an emotion or a thought or something arises which entangles in your daily lives, then you begin the process of non-attachment. You say, if this is not real and reality is just being silent and still, if that's not changing, it will never change, then this identification is not real. This identification with an I that it's created for self seems to be just illusion. So you begin a non-attachment process. And as you let go of everything that this illusionary I, as we call it, or this I has built for itself or believes it's built for itself, as you let go one at a time, you start becoming more and more aware of what is and not what you believe is. And that's it. This is just a slow process. And then there are different methods given to do this. What worked for me was self-inquiry. I did who am I, which is questioning the questioner, which is what Raman and I taught. And as this continues to happen, you become more and more aware of your true nature, because that nature is never going to go away. It's always there. So self-realization, as we call it, or nirvana or enlightenment, it's nothing new. It's not going to come from somewhere. It's not going to be achieved from somewhere. You don't have to attain it. That is your starting point. It's just that you've forgotten, because of this false identification with the phenomenal world, that you've forgotten what your true nature is. You are free. You're not bound. You tend to have put yourself in a box, and now you seek freedom. So once you become aware more and more, and you start abiding in this awareness of your true nature 24/7, you are fully awakened. You're no more asleep. And this is what awakening means. So non-duality or non-dual essence is nothing but a non-personal, all-inclusive awareness, because everybody is the same. So from that perspective, if everybody is the same, everybody's essence is the same, then why the disparity? Why the distinction? Why, the angst towards each other? Why the anger towards each other? So all of that starts going away, because now you start seeing everything as one, as the same. And that then now starts bringing equanimity, that if everything is seen with the same eye, the same ear, the same touch, if everything is one and the same, and nothing is changing, then it's all one and the same. Nothing to fight about, nothing to be jealous about, nothing to fear, nothing to worry about. It's all one and the same. So we're all part of one indivisible whole, is what I say. And that's what the scriptures say as well. That is what non-duality means. Questions?
Ashish, two questions. One
Yeah.
question is whether the human body came first to create the thought, or the thought created the human body. This is one question one. Question two is, awareness is also a thought. So
Awareness is not a thought. In this case, awareness is the knowing. So it's just, so when I had the experience, there was no thought coming through. There was only an awareness of existence. There was a feeling of existence. There was no thought there. You just knew that you existed.
but knowing that you exist is also a thought, right?
No, it's not, because without thought, knowing is different from thought. It just is, right? There's no thought to analyze that you are aware. You just are aware.
I will give an example, Somen. I think, I may not be able to explain as clearly as I've heard somewhere else. So sun is the awareness. Now, when you have a pot and a water in it, right? It gets reflected. You see the pot, you see the water, and you see a reflection of the sun in it. But none of these three things is the awareness. So awareness in this analogy is the sun that just exists. What we see, what appears to look like a sun, what appears to look like a pot and the water, which is reflecting the sun. So the knower and the known, which is the pot, and the knowing that these things exist actually does not exist. None of these three things exist: the knower, the knowing, and the and the object of that knowledge. Sun is basically your awareness. So I think the in the awareness, the whole point of being in the consciousness is to transcend that thought. You will not have any thought. It is not a thought. As soon as the thought comes, it becomes the subject and the object. You are just aware. It's just awareness, the consciousness. It's not the thought. It's a kind of a super of that thought and body. Just the awareness, nothing else.
Understand, Anil. Anil, what probably I'm not understanding is even that awareness that the sun is an existence in some form is also a thought. Without your mind, you cannot think of that.
So what he's saying is, so Shaman, prior to anything starts, right? In pure consciousness, what he's trying to explain is that the knower, the knowing, and the known, all of these are still creations of the mind.
Yes.
Because there is an identification
Yes.
that has been created. So that if there is a knower and a known, that means there is still duality, right? Because there is something, there is a subject which tends to know something. But in this experience, which is beyond, the thought, you are, I guess you, there's no way to explain this, right? I've told many people that, I cannot explain the nature of silence through words. So this is why we say that the only way to know this is to have an experience of it.
Okay.
Right. So that's one. But there is, but I can tell you that there is an awareness that remains without thought. How to define it? I don't know. You'll have to, I guess, experience it one day. Right?
Okay.
That's one. The second question, or the first question that you had, that always remember that the thought comes first. So what the scriptures have said and what has been the experience, and I know you're a very analytical and a logical mind, but if you slow down your process of, your entanglements, if you just slow down and just analyze, you will see that any action, any emotion that you have done has actually originated from a thought.
Correct.
Any reaction has also been thought. So what the scriptures have said, that the way the physical matter is created, that the reality actually is engulfed in what we call three prisons. We call them the causal, the astral, and the physical. And this is, remember, an outward circular projection. That means that what you're seeing and here, it's been from the center, there is a circular projection going, pervading the entire universe. And the circular projection is what? It starts with causal, which is the cause, which is a thought, or what we call thoughttrons. Those then get pushed forward, projected forward into energy, which is basically, the astral part. And then that energy gets pushed forward into matter. So these three layers is what is believed that how every part in the universe is created. Right? Everything that you see, hear, touch is created in this manner. So it's the thought, which is the cause, and then the body is the effect. So thought converts into energy, converts into matter. So all your chakras that they talk in yoga, everything, they are not physical points in your body, they are energy points. So they're all part of the astral thing. And your nervous system, which is created, actually, you have this Shushumna that runs from the top to the bottom, and then you have all these nadis that connect. But eventually, the Kundalini, which is engulfed at the bottom of your one chakra, again, an energy, has to be released, has to go through these astral points, and eventually be released from your crown chakra. So these are different aspects, but always thought starts first. Thoughts will create an energy, and then that energy will then convert into matter, because matter per se is inert on its own. Science tells us that matter can't do anything on its own. That means that it's the driven, not the driver. That means something else is driving this.
Okay. Ashish, that's clear. Since we last spoke, something has become very clear in terms of that everything that emerges from a thought, and the thought is a creation of the mind. That is, I'm absolutely clear on this now. I don't have any doubts on this anymore.
Wonderful.
My only point is that the physical body creates the thought. But yes, if I go back one step and think, how did the physical body get created, if at all it did, then it also emerged from a thought. I get what you're saying. Okay. Maybe I'll
Right?
a
Yeah,
bit more. I'll understand a little bit more.
correct. So now if you reach to the point that the mind, the starting is, let's say, the thought, right?
Right.
If you reach to that point and you say, look, this thought is now created by a mind, then the next step, if you're comfortable to that point, now the next step to ask is, what is this mind? Right? It's a collection of thoughts, memories. Then now seek that mind, is to question that mind. Does that mind, which is creating or appears to be creating these thoughts, does it have any substantial existence? Try to find that.
Okay.
And what you will
All right.
find is that it actually, you can't find it. So if that you can't find, then the next question will be, then if I can't find that, then where is this coming from? And this is how you will peel the layer of the onion.
Making sense.
Deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
Michelle, you're on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I think I've been asking. I think let the others ask.
Yeah. Somna, does that make sense?
Yes, sort of. I understood this thing about the thought, and that if you realize that it's created from the mind. So up to there, I'm clear that yes, the mind creates all these thoughts.
So then, Somna, the question will be, what is this mind? If I ask you to
Exactly.
show me the mind, can you show me the mind? You can show me the brain. You can show me the hands, the feet, the brain, right? Which is nothing but processing certain signals. So the brain only operates on interpretations, right? If the brain knows hot and then the absence of heat, then it knows what cold is,
Okay.
right? If the brain knows love, the absence of love will cause hate. Even here, there is no duality actually in nature. It's only the absence of the other, but we take it and we say love and hate. There's nothing called hate. It's only the absence of love.
So, but then I still haven't understood. And where's the mind? What is the mind?
Yes. So that is the key question now. That if the mind, we all say, right? There's so much written about. There's so much talk about do mindfulness and let's do research on this mind, and we're analyzing the mind, right? But nobody's asking the question, then stopping and saying, hey, wait a minute, where is this mind? If I ask you to show me the mind, you can't show me. Can you cut it? Can you open it? Can you hold it? If you can't, then where is all this coming from? And that's what you need to now question. You need to now question the mind. But the beauty of this whole thing is that you're going to use the same tool to question itself. So it starts beginning to trouble you. It starts
Yeah, the
now
mind
saying,
is
wait a
now, I
minute.
have to question my mind. My mind
Yes.
has questioned my mind.
Yeah. Right. So now you're asking the thief to put on a policeman's hat and catch itself. So now the mind weight says, wait a minute. So it now starts playing tricks again on you, because the job of the mind is to keep you entangled. And you're saying, wait a minute, you don't exist. Then what are you keeping me entangled in? So now you start seeking, you start asking this question, which is the self-inquiry, which is the method that Ramana taught. Ramana said, rather than going through these different processes of karma yoga and dhyan yoga, which is quite austere and it's quite intense, right? Let me teach you a shortcut, which is called what we call Gyan Yoga, which is now you question the questioner. Start questioning everything that this mind is doing, and who does this mind belong to? So the answer from within will come. It belongs to me. It's I. It's my mind. And now question that thing. If it's my mind, then what is this I? Who is this I? And you'll find that it goes into a circular thing. It can't find the answer. Most people find this difficult because they start getting lost in the question. No, the trick here is to question the questioner, because as long as the questioner is alive or appears to be alive, its job is to ask the questions. So the idea here is to dissolve the questioner. And that dissolution of the questioner will only happen at its source, because from the understanding that this thing actually never existed, it never was in existence, it only appears to be there, you begin to start your non-attachment process to everything that it's created for itself, eventually being non-attached to itself. Then what will remain is your starting point, which you had never left. Biggest joke. Life is the biggest joke.
Ashish,
Haji.
this is Didi. Yeah.
Ha, Didi.
It's a completely different question. I just wanted to know, for majority of us, why does our spiritual journey only start when materially things are, in turmoil, or, things are not going good? Then, we start on this spiritual journey. Why? In majority of the cases, I think you also in your book have started off how it started, your spiritual journey. Why do you think our mind seeks all these truths only when we are going through a bad phase?
So, good question, Didi. I guess suffering creates, when the going is good, you tend to be entangled in, in enjoying that portion, right? Only when suffering happens do people turn inward, and that inward journey only starts by saying, I can't find an answer to all my problems, right? You turn to your belief system, which is, praying to God, right? So I think it's only time that you see intense suffering do you tend to ask the questions within, that what is this all about? Why is it happening to me? What is this life about, right? um do you ever ask those questions or any of that when the going is good, because you're having a
Yeah, that's my
wonderful time,
question.
right?
Why don't we do that?
Well, Kabir had that thing, no, सुख में दुख में सुमरन सब करें, सुख में करे ना कोई, जो सुख में सुमरन करे तो दुख काहे का होए. It's the same thing, that if people would understand this, which is why in the book we've tried to attack this point, that before the children get corrupted, if this is started early, and if the children, before the corruption of the world, of the material world starts happening, if they could understand this, then they could actually go through life much more joyfully and happily than, coming to your 50 year, or 50 or 55, when you're now going through the sufferings. and you then realize, wait a minute, what is all this about? What do I do? Right? So this is an interesting one, because I think Anil is going to, last time he was here, he's going to now hit the topic of preordained against free will. And I think this topic that you're asking could be covered in that, because if life has a script and it's preordained, then it's just written that way. It's just written in a way that you would have good times, but in the bad times you will start seeking this, right? As I said, in reality, this is just a dream drama. It's nothing going on.
Sure, Ashish, if I can actually make a comment here. So I think, by nature, when we live in this world, right, our whole goal is to remain happy all the time. That's our mind thinking, and that's our senses needing, requiring. We want to remain happy all the time. And when some miseries come, when some suffering come, when some bad time comes, then we start to think, the mind starts to think how to avoid it, how to prevent it. And that's the reason I think we look for solutions when we are going through a bad phase. So this is all mind's creation. The happiness is mind's creation, and suffering is also mind's creation. Now, from a practical perspective, when we are living in this world, not the ultimate reality, the ultimate truth, the non-dual nature of human beings, right? If you're not looking from that ultimate perspective, then what we are thinking about, this is what Buddha started to think about: how can I eliminate the suffering so that I remain happy all the time? So you are trying to manage the downside of life. If you're happy, you don't have any problem. You're happy because that's what you want to be. That's what your original nature is. So there's no need for solving a problem that does not exist. We try to solve a problem when there's a problem. We're looking for a solution. Now, there are methods that I think we describe in the book: the non-attachment to things, to people, to objects. If you start from that perspective, when you lose those objects, those relationships, you will not feel bad. So that is a preventive mechanism to not get into that problem if you have the idea of non-attachment and equanimity. That means I'm happy when there are bad times, and I'm happy when there are happy times. That is the makeup of the mind. If you can create that, two aspects: non-attachment to things and people, and equanimity in all aspects of the circumstances, you will not have a need to solve that problem that this is a bad phase, because every phase is a good phase.
So,
But mental wellness is such a big thing these days, right?
yeah.
It is,
So,
yeah, as Anilji said, everybody would like to be happy, but that's the biggest challenge in today's world.
So I think if you, going back to the previous question, I think if you look at the life of Gautama Buddha, right? He was a king, he was a prince, he was not made to see any suffering. So he had no problems till the time he saw those three visions. And then when he went to his journey of becoming what he is. So I guess that's an example of how it happens probably. You seek answers when you're only down. Or your mind,
But
your thought
that's,
has created something down, right?
yeah,
But
but
that's
that's
what
probably preordained, right? That's exactly what Ashish scripted, right? That was your, basically you're born in a palace, and then your journey is this, right?
Yeah, but then you have chosen that for yourself, right? So you chose it. So you
But
tended to ignore your
so
and
this is
yeah,
going
said
to
but
be,
that.
yeah, so this is a
my
very interesting.
understanding is that we don't choose anything, right? It's already written for us. We just follow the path.
Malini, I'm
That,
not so
that is
sure.
the discussion we will have.
Yeah, this is a great one.
I'm not sure
It's
of
going to
that.
be a great topic. Again,
Yeah.
yeah,
We
I'm
believe
not
that,
sure of that
yeah,
because
that's already scripted, right? We talk about karma, right? We say this is, the good and the bad is all yours, right? Probably if it's something
but
bad is
who
happening
has
to you, it's
scripted that?
probably a bad karma of your previous births, right? So there is so much that is up and about, right?
Yeah, but who has created that script? I mean, if you go back one step, and why are you following that if you are not sure of the source of who has scripted that and how it has come? Your thoughts are making you believe that it has been scripted. Someone has written it. Someone is about to execute it, and therefore these are all thoughts in your mind. It's not. It's not. I don't know whether it's been scripted or not.
very good, very good, Shaman. I don't know. Did you read the book on your way out?
I told you I would.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's a big leap from you when you were here 10 days ago. Wonderful, good. So I think this is you're on the right track, Shaman. Very good. Um, but this is another Anil. You can see this is a great segue towards
Yeah.
your next topic, because this is going to be interesting on your preordained versus free will and choices.
Yep.
But
Yep.
in reality, no script has actually been written.
I mean,
There's nothing
Somen
there.
described it well. This is your mind making you think that there is a
Yes,
God, there is a script, right?
correct.
But none of
Absolutely.
that actually exists. Correct.
Correct. Absolutely. Because the truth, as the truth, will never change. Never change. It's not changing and will never change.
But I think the problem is that, a mother sees his child is brutally murdered in front of her eyes, right? How she can now not feel bad, can have internal suffering. It's not an easy thing,
Oh, it's
right?
not.
And
Just to
that's where we
understand.
need to solve, right?
Yeah. Not just to understand this is not easy. And the difficult part is not the understanding. Maybe you can intellectually understand it, but to implement this understanding in your life is where the difficult part is. Where the difficult part is.
It's very difficult if you've gone through something bad in your life. It's very difficult to kind of overcome those emotions, those thoughts. Yeah, it is really difficult.
Right? Means I told you the story about this woman who had come to Ramanna. I mean, she had lost 3 children when she came, and then she found peace with Ramanna. Right? While she was there in the ashram, she remained there, and then she adopted kids, and then the adopted child died, and then like over a period of her lifetime, she had lost 5 kids. Not easy, but when she lost the other 2, she had understood the true nature. So for her, it had become for her it had become she had understood now, and it became easier, but not easy. Not easy.
Ashish, excuse me. Can I please be excused? I have to leave.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Somna.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
we
much.
are
It
also
was
coming to
very
the end. Yeah.
okay. Thank
Thank you
you.
for
Bye
having
bye, everybody.
me.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Bye, Somna.
Bye.
I guess we are also coming to the end of our good. I think Michelle, today you've been awfully quiet.
I'm here. I've just been listening the whole time.
Okay. All right. I guess this is a good point, good time to end. Should we end here?
Yeah, I mean, I could keep listening if you guys want to keep talking, but I'm good either way.
Uh, Anil, Shaman, Malini, it's just
Yeah, I
us now.
think
So I think we can, yeah. I think
Yes,
is
Rajesh.
Navratris on, is it?
yes, it started from today.
Yeah, last day.
No, today's the
Okay.
first.
Oh, sorry,
First day. Okay. All right. Because a lot of people who even said yes, they would come. I'm assuming that, since Navratris have started. Okay, good. But this is great. Shaman, I'm really happy to see this. Very good. very good movement. All right, I guess we can close out now. It's almost 11:15.
Yes.
Thank you everybody.
Okay.
This was great.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Super.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.